Welcome back. Welcome back to Unfiltered, Unspoken Podcast. And we're going to keep giving it to you. I have a special guest today, and I want to thank Irene because as soon as we get a cancellation, it's filled in less than 2 minutes. So I'm loving it. Thank you for jumping in, Irene. We appreciate this. So we have Irene Vaksberg. She is actually from the old Soviet Union, but she's now in California. And we're going to bring her on up to tell so she can tell you a little bit about herself. And then, as you know, Sid is going to kick that first question off, and we're going to get right on into it.
Hey, thank you for having me here. Irene Vaksberg, former. I was born in former Soviet Union, living in Los Angeles, California. 54 years old, two beautiful children. I have four beautiful grandchildren. Been divorced twice, and life was not always easy. When I came to United States, I didn't speak any English, and bullying was one of the struggles that I had to go through, and it wasn't easy and had to come overcome many obstacles through that. When you don't speak the language, just remembering that anxiousness and anxiety from it. I mean, now I can't stop talking. So it's possible to overcome the bullying, but it's not easy.
All right. So, and again, thank you, Irene, for being on with us. And I just want to kick this off with we always start from the beginning. We start from the root, the origin. So, what was life like as a child? Did you experience any trauma as a child, or what was your upbringing like?
Well, in Russia, it was great per se. My family was very happy. My parents were great, but living in Russia was actually very difficult. Being as a Jewish child, my family was Jewish, well, is still Jewish. That's the reason we came to United States. But the discrimination was really right front and center. We were called names. We could not go into good school. And when my parents decided to leave Russia for us to have a better life, my parents pierced our ears. And that was a sign that a Jewish family was leaving former Soviet Union, because the only way you could bring jewelry, and we, spend the last dollars because we thought we could sell it, and you don't have a lot of money. We came to this country, $500 for a suitcase, and there was four of us. So yeah, that was traumatic coming from Russia, being discriminated. But what's interesting? When we came to this beautiful country that I call home for 42 years, nobody cared we were Jewish. Here we go again. Everybody cared that we were Russian. And the discrimination was in a completely different way. So, I had to fight that, and then coming to United States of America, not speaking English, not able to stand up for myself. It was not easy.
So, what are some of the traumas of discrimination that you went through? Because what was your age? So I'm you were starting.
So I left Russia 11 and a
Mhm.
half, got to America by 12 years old. You
Okay.
know,
So
yes.
they bully was more the bullying in school or in the community?
So, well, it's everywhere. Kids made fun of you, right? I couldn't speak. If I said things, I had a really heavy duty accent. And, I actually kind of went inside of myself. I was uncomfortable speaking. I was not comfortable writing. Uh, It was not easy. I was hiding. I never participated in anything. I didn't have a lot of friends in the beginning. And it was difficult. Communication is important. Speaking the language, relating to kids, right? At such a young age, you need that community, and there was not. It wasn't here. It wasn't there.
Now, it was Los Angeles where you all came once you touched down in America, or did you guys start somewhere else?
So we started in Providence, Rhode Island,
Okay.
and in so many ways, it was great that we came to a very small town. I couldn't imagine coming to United straight to Los Angeles and not speaking the language, I would have been even more dramatic.
Right. Now, what was, I guess, why was Providence the target? Because I know normally, people that immigrate, go to where communities are already established. Was that the case, or were you able to find solace within, your own community?
Well, in 1979, that's when the largest Jewish Russian immigration happened. It's like 60,000 of us left, and if there was interracial marriages, they all came because you could not leave Russia if you were not Jewish. So a lot of people married to Jewish men or women in order to leave. It was the biggest one, and we went where the community was, and there was not a big community anywhere. I mean, New York was probably one of the biggest, but we were not allowed. Like, you had to have a visa, that you had to be sponsored. And our cousins lived in Providence, Rhode Island, and the Jewish Federation really wanted, a community of uh, Russian Jewish people, and that's kind of how we end up being there.
Okay, so you actually had family here. I guess that was a plus. More
Yes.
helpful to have family here. Okay.
Yeah.
So, did you go through bullying in school? Did they bully you in school?
Oh yeah, major bullying. I remember being poked, being pushed. I vividly, like, somebody took my lunch, and when kids are laughing at you, but as many kids were laughing, it was hard. Then it was a beautiful moment. One time, I could couple of kids came up to me and kind of protected me because they felt like they could see I was lost and in tears. So in the midst of that, there were there were moments that I, even though I felt alone, but that somebody did step up for a second. But I was afraid to speak. Like, I felt very uncomfortable. And then middle school, I was like, no, I can't handle it. And then I went to a Russian Jewish school. Then everybody spoke Russian again. And so I literally went from like nine, I skipped middle school to ninth grade, and then I graduated. So there was not a lot of education per se for me, formal education. I had to kind of learn all on myself, watching cartoons. That's how I learned how to speak English.
That's amazing. Now, on the home front, what does a Russian Jewish upbringing look like? Were there things that you know once you got stateside, you discover probably maybe something they might consider abusive, or what were there any differences that that may have cause stress or trauma for you? Not to say that your parents weren't good parents or anything, but maybe just the differences, and definitely trying to acclimate once you got here.
Well, we could not practice Judaism in Russia, so we did not grow up being religious because you could not admit they were Jewish. When we came to United States, it wasn't part of our culture. Like, we are Jewish by uh, heritage, right? It's a and I mean, my parents were too busy working to pay attention to any of that. So we never acclimated. Like, we could, I mean, I think I did like Shabbat one time and I was like, I can't watch TV. What do you mean? So, in that religious aspect, there was not a lot of inconveniences. The biggest trauma for me is not having friends, or being excluded, not inviting to the parties. First was that I didn't speak English, and then as United States and former Soviet Union was not getting along, and there's thing politically happened. So then adults start, calling you names, get out of this is my country, you don't belong here, and things like that. Like, I didn't feel welcome for a period of time. And something that actually happened again a few years ago here, all over, and it brought up a lot of the uh, feelings as a child, like, you're not welcome here. you know I so strange that we're even talking about it, because actually today it brought me almost to tears again. Um, I sent a message to someone on Instagram, and the message that I got was, "You should not send these things. You should learn how to write English properly before you send anything to people, that it's not very professional. And if you were a better speller, you would be more professional, and maybe you would have more success." It's like I'm
That
joking,
was harsh.
I'm just checking, just joking, just even saying that to you. So, oh my God, like I just realized it all comes full circle in this conversation. And it triggered all of that, like, oh, you should silence yourself. I didn't write for 15 years. 15 years ago, I began writing because I had a story. I didn't, like, yes, I've gotten so much better, but that trauma um, of not spelling correctly or reading things correctly held me back tremendously. And then I'm like, well, that cannot hold me back, because my purpose in life and my mission and the gift that God gave me, and He saved me, and I promise that nothing is going to stop me. I start slowly, slowly. My mission is bigger than my inconveniences, more like it. And my God, like I'm literally having goosebumps. It's good. 40 years later, it just came full circle.
Wow, I'm sorry to hear that. That's harsh.
And something, it's okay, because I put him in his place. But also the message is bigger than my inconvenience or how it kind of hurt me. It did hurt me, right? Like, he does not know me. He hasn't walked in my shoes. He doesn't know what I've been through. That's kind of what I told him, is that inconvenience, whatever it is, cannot stop you. We have to go forward no matter what. The mission, the purpose, the passion, that whatever we have cannot stop us, because I cannot spell a word correctly. I don't know where to put a capital. I mean, I know where to put a capital, but a comma.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. I hate people that believe, a language barrier would it is affects intelligence. It doesn't at all. It's a very centric type of view, to think that everybody should know, English, because if we get dropped off in another country, we're screwed, because it's custom to speak their language. So,
Right.
it doesn't mean. I hate people that give that vibe to people, because it's not valid, not at all.
Yeah.
Exactly. I agree. Um,
Yeah.
I have a question. I just so the audience can see from school some of the mental effects that the bullying because of the barrier with culture and language, how it affected you. Like what did it cause? Anxiety, depression, just so folks can see how bullying affects others.
Oh, it definitely anxiety. I did not participate in school, like, meaning I didn't speak, I didn't raise my hand, I was not involved. If there's anything had to be in writing, I did not participate. Even as a grown up, like if I went to events, if I did like some, what do you call it, self development, and it has to be a group, and we had to write something, right? And then we had to like share notes. I would come up with every excuse not to do it. I would go sit in the bathroom. I would walk away. I would leave an event because, I was self conscious. And I was embarrassed, and it made me feel less than. And, I had to work on myself on uh, through those feelings and emotions. And, words matter, right? Energy matter. You don't have to speak something to know that you're not welcome or somebody's making fun of you, right?
Not at all. Not at all. Now, what moment, or what was the moment, um, when you kind of came to accept, it is what it is, and kind of accept yourself, and or were able to gain friends and, kind of start living life the way that you want to? What was the turning point?
So I think about 16, the English got better, right? I got more confident. You slowly and surely, the community that you're in, we're all learning English. We're all, picking it up. As a child, it's a little easier, but like it's just practicing because you didn't want to be made fun of, but it just kind of evolved naturally. And again, the kids that protected me made me feel comfortable and kind of took us under the wing. And it just kind of got evolved. But it was so funny that you said I chose to be a hairdresser, and I knew that I was going to be at 11 years old. And about 18 years old, I said to myself, oh my God, I picked a profession where I have to actually speak, and I'm so embarrassed of my accent, but and I had to speak. I had to be able to communicate with people. And now looking back, it's like sometimes universe puts you into places that you have to conquer your fear and get uncomfortable being uncomfortable. And the only way we get pushed is sometimes when we get into an uncomfortable situation. And my desire to be a hairdresser was bigger than my fear per se. Make sense? But it still wasn't easy. I mean, till this day, people go, "Oh, you have an accent. Where are you from? Can you say that again?"
Yeah, so it's like a good and a bad. But that's
Yeah.
good that your weakness was turned into a strength by the career path that you chose. So that's a beautiful thing.
And I took a class how to speak, and what I thought was like a terrible thing, right? The accent is hinders me. But what the person that was training, the teacher or the coach, he said, Irene, your accent is a gift because people have to pay attention to you, so they have to listen a little closer. So do you see how like that struggle becomes your strength?
Mm. Yeah, and definitely. So now we're into the hairdressing piece. You've chosen your career. 12 years ago, something happened to you. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, absolutely. So 12 years ago, my life took completely other turn. I mean, till then I've been through a lot, like I said, divorce, miscarriage, an oldest daughter that, was a little wild on the side, made me a grandmother like at 40 years old. I raised my grandchild for 3 years. I built a successful hairdressing business as a single mother, 18 years, pretty much 7 days a week, 24/7. And at 42, was just about turning 43 the next day. And I was in a car accident that changed all of that. A gentleman fell asleep behind the wheel, T-boned us, and I was left with chronic pain, anxiety, depression. 2 years into my chronic pain, the brain went on overdrive and basically crashed and created spasm and shaking. And that would be like started 2 3 hours and it could go up to 6 hours. I never knew what it would stop, what it would end, and I would need a morphine drip. I had like 9 epidurals, 4 hip injections, sympathetic nerve block, and 5 years ago I decided I was done. Doctors told me I will be in a wheelchair eventually, and it was a very difficult moment. My daughter took care of me. I lived a full life, and I could not take a step without either being in horrendous pain or a wrong move would throw me into the spasm and shaking.
Wow. And where are you, now? What is, your health look like now? Is it still going in the direction that they planned, or, have you made a kind of overcome?
Yes. So 5 years ago, I was in the last, at the lowest point. The depression was so bad. I felt like I was in this tunnel or like quicksand that I could not get out. I'm pretty strong human being. I have a pretty, no, sorry. I have a pretty strong mindset. I've been through a lot, and I'm just giving you little clips of it. But this moment was the worst moment of my life, because not only I lost my mental, physical, emotional, I lost financially too. In the past, when I was in difficult moment, I could afford to go to therapy or this and that. But this moment, nothing. I had nothing. I had no hope. I lost my faith. I prayed for 5 years, and I felt like God was not hearing me. And 5 years ago, I sat in my chair and I said, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I don't want to be a pain and a nuisance and a struggle for my daughter. And I said, God, take me away. But I'm ready to go. I made peace with, literally, I made peace with dying, because I could not see myself being in a wheelchair. I salsa, I Zumba, I traveled, I hiked, I lived a very active life. And I said, I can't. And this little voice kept on saying, I mean, one more prayer. So I did pray that, even though I didn't believe in it. And I said, God, this is what I need from you. And he said, something very special that is drug free, non invasive, no chemicals, and affordable. I was like $15,000 in debt just in my medical bills. Forget about everything else. And a few months later, actually, a friend of mine brings me this magical sock. And I ignored it because doctors told me there was no options, but she delivered it anyway. She basically sent it, and I put this product on, and literally gave me my life back. So today, at this moment, I am pain-free, drug-free, epidural-free, living my best life ever, inspiring people not to give up hope, to hold on to their faith. And the most important message is, even when you think you're giving up, don't say that last 1,000 prayer. Take that 1,000 last steps and keep on going, because God does hear me, you, us, but only delivers at the right time, when we're ready to accept it and run with it.
Powerful message. Powerful message. Well, I'm glad that your friend was able to help to for you to overcome the pain that you were going through. So, was walking? I guess the walking was an issue. Like you couldn't go far.
Everything was an issue.
Hmm.
Uh, my sympathetic nerve was damaged, and it works with movement, everything. It holds you to get your structurally together, L1 through 5. And I had a lumbar tear, and and neuropathy, and numbness in my feet, and burning everywhere, and numbness in my hands. It was, every move was painful. I walked, but I needed a Vicodin, I needed Norco, I needed Oxycontin, I was on Cymbalta, I was on Gapitan, and muscle relaxers and nerve relaxers, everything under the sun I was on, a bag full of medicine.
Wow. And what came of the, actual accident? Was the driver held liable? Did you have to take
Um,
that to court? What was the
Well,
process?
yes, yeah, we did go to court, but by the time, I mean, he was from a different country. He was like a jet lag. We don't think of jet lag. It's like, but the officer said it's almost like he was drunk, but he wasn't drunk. He just, the time changed, 30 hours flight, and yeah, I mean, something I would not wish. The pain that I went through and everything that I lost through it, I've gained so much more from the car accident. But I don't, by the end of by that time lawyers got done with me, I had barely anything left. I was almost close to $100,000 in debt. And I lost $100,000 business that I built from since 24 years old. So there was no gain. In that sense, there was no gain, but the wisdom, the healing, the depthness of empathy, the depth of somebody else's struggle, my own healing, it's priceless. It's priceless.
I
I
love
would
it.
not change it. I wouldn't change it for the world. I am completely different person than I was. I was a great person, but I feel like I'm even better now.
Hmm. So I have a question. With all of the medicine that you were on, all of the pain killers that you were on, did you get addicted to any of the painkillers?
No, I did not. In a sense that um, like I bared a lot of the pain, right? I mean, I took the pain meds, and if I would have didn't find this product, I probably would have been addicted, right? Because I took it every day. That didn't make me feel very good. So I didn't like that feeling, and I was still in pain. So I don't have an addicted personality per se, and I've done enough research. I never took an Advil before, and then I was on this heavy drugs, right? Like Advil was like my last resource, and I've done a lot of um, research on pain meds, and I've seen my own personal customers in my chair being addicted to all kinds of meds. So I was very scared of it. So I took it because I needed it, by like counting the days, always looking for something more natural and holistic approach, and slowly replaced different things. But Vicodin and Norco was, um, and Tylenol with codeine was literally, until I discovered the socks, this technology. I was pretty much every day on it. And when I had an epidural, it gave me a little space to not take so much. And it was complicated to figure that all out.
Understood. And what exactly, was the product that brought you kind of out of everything, out of the need, for the pharmaceuticals and all of that? Like what exactly, were you
Can
given?
I can I show you?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So, oh, hold on. So, do you see this little orange patch?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is a neurological wearable technology. This is a proprietary pattern, right? This is actually a QR code to your brain. So the moment it touches my feet, right? And we have a patch, right? See right here. The moment it touches the skin, it triggers a response to specific uh, part of your brain to put it from like flight and fight and into homeostasis. So what this did for me, it took that brainstem and the central nervous system, because everything comes from the brain. And if your neurology is not functioning correctly, nothing else functions correctly. So it took me from flight and fight into homeostasis in 7 seconds. This is drug free, that just like a prey, not invasive, no chemicals, no side effect.
Wow. And what is, I guess, what is the, um, I guess I wouldn't say active ingredient, but it's not a,
There's no ingredient. There's
yeah,
not. It's a QR code. It's a number, some sort of here. That's it. There's
hmm
nothing. And I have babies wear this technology. One of my customers, well, actually, she's a partner now. Um, her daughter had triplets, and they were small, and one of them was really, really small. She's like, Irene, my grandkid is in the incubator. I see you, not I see you, but she was a little small. She needed a little bit more. And she said, can I put this on her? I said, yeah, throw some patches on. I gave her the thriving 4 months now. They're doing incredible. They still wear it. The little ones still wear it. The other one don't need it. And they're doing absolutely great. And her daughter used all of this technology through labor and pre-labor, and within hours she was able to move around after triplet C-section. A week later, she was on the floor playing with her other two babies. The doctor could not believe it. That was easier recovery than the one that she had one baby 2 years prior.
Okay, we're gonna let you share that when Sid does her ending, so we can hear, so we can tell folks how to get that product, because this is natural and this will actually help folks that are addicted, that can potentially be addicted to narcotics, to prevent that. So I think this is awesome.
And
Awesome.
we actually have a patch that helps with addiction. It just came out. So we can talk more about that.
Okay. Okay, so we'll get into that.
Okay. And now once got your products, your it looks like a sock. Is that a sock? Was that a sock that was? Okay, and your patch. Um what was, once you discovered that you're a little bit more fluid, you pain free, what was that first thing you wanted to do, once you were able bodied?
I danced. I danced. I mean, that moment was just so powerful. But it's bigger than the song, right? For me, I was done. I made peace with dying, but God had other plans for me. So people that live in chronic pain, we are so tired of trying things and not working that we actually made peace with living in chronic pain. So for me, the message is keep praying, keep going, keep trying, don't give up. You will find your miracle. And I danced and I said, God, I got you. You got me. I will be sharing your powerful testimony that I did not believe in you, but you still believed in me.
And that's why having patience is virtual sometimes, because we are taken through this pain to show our strengths and what we can overcome and how we can overcome things. So, I mean, it's good to see. Dancing must have been your passion. Did you love to dance?
Yes. Oh,
What
three.
was it?
I have two left feet, but I'm booging down. Get you
I
some
love.
music. I don't care what kind. I'm moving along. And I was like, oh my God, here we go. And I could hear my daughter even now, Mom, please take it easy. I know you feel amazing, but I don't know what this is, but
That's
I love it.
amazing. Yeah, that's amazing. That's, to think that that's something that you were, never going to do again. And to be able to do it, that's amazing. And I'm glad you found, what you needed before the end, whether, it was actually near or whether you forced it. I'm just glad you found your happiness before that.
thank you.
Now, what was the next game plan? Like, were you, trying to get your business back started, or was it more just so about living? What was your mind frame like? What was the goals like after, getting everything back in order?
So I got on a plane, and my daughter and I went to Amsterdam and Paris. I with two pairs of socks and a bottle of Advil that I did not use. We were planning a trip and for me to get another 10th epidural, and I did not do it. So we went and we had a blast. We traveled and we came back home, and I said, what's now? And the message was loud and clear. You promise God to show up every day to preach or share, I don't know, whatever word, inspire to not give up hope. And I made that my journey. I did not want to rebuild my salon because there's no way in the state that I am. Yes, I'm good, but I didn't want to put that pressure on my body. And the mission changed. Right. Actually, I lost so much business that till this day, I still open my appointment book and makes me want to cry. The appointment is filled with life in a different way. But when you were booked 3 months in advance and you had a waiting list, and I felt like my American dream was gone and I needed to focus on something else. And the focus was the promise that I made God, that I need to show up front and center every day and say, yes, maybe you want to give up, but that's one more prayer. Go inside and dig it out. And the other thing was, please I have an option for you. please listen to me. You don't have to get it. It's not about selling it. I give more product away than sometimes I sell because I made a mission to pay it forward, right? So the passion is just to 5 years ago is the same as here, to get on different platforms and say you can do it. That your difficult moment will become your brightest light, and I'm living in that. I'm living that. That is my life.
I love it.
Encouraging others.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So now you're dancing and now you're flying. So you must be traveling big time now.
Yep.
So how many
Yep.
places have you been within the last 5 years? And
So
where have you
since
been?
since well, remember we had COVID. So the last few years, so I've been to London, Morocco. Well, not really Morocco, London. I went to locally. I've been to Florida, flying to New York. Then I'll be in Vegas, San Francisco, and my company just opened in 27 different countries. I'm about to get to the airport on an airplane and go to every single one of them to spread my message. Canada, Toronto, I went. So yeah, the mission is big, and traveling is very powerful. You learn so much. I love being immersed with different cultures and in religions and food, and it's, I love people. And I'm going to Greece in September, next month, New York, and I said Vegas. I already said all of that. Yes, and more to come.
You can see how excited you is. I was gonna say, Sid, look, I was like, you go from no traveling to traveling, and look at the excitement
Well,
on your
prior to
face.
my car accident, I
Uh-huh.
traveled to Europe, to Mexico, to everywhere. I took 3 or 4 trips a year, and so I work hard, but I play hard. Well, actually, I don't work. I feel blessed that I get paid for my hobby. I got paid really well for 38 years of doing it. I still do hair, just very little part of it, right? And but I'm good with it. Uh, the it's a different kind of life now. I was very spiritual. I was all about community. I participated in many different nonprofit organizations, supported them, still do, but now I want to do more of that, even more of that, even more bringing people together and uniting and sharing, and especially the underdog like me that don't speak really good English, right? That have issues in acclimating. I want to be the support. Well, I am already, but I want to do that more. Inclusivity.
Yes, yes.
I'm
And
about
with all
community.
your
I'm about community.
yes, and with all your traveling, were you ever compelled to go home, go to Russia? No, don't
Never,
want to do it.
never. I mean, my daughter wanted to go see Moscow and Leningrad. I mean, but now home is here. Home
Mhm.
is here. I mean, this is my home. This is my country, chosen one. But no, and now no desire. I mean, let's pray to God that war will be over soon. We'll go support. You know, um,
So so I have a question. So while we're there, you left at 11, right? From the old Soviet Union.
yeah.
Did you go through a lot of traumas through the old Soviet Union piece of it? Because you're like, no, I'm not going back. So it had to be
I mean,
traumatizing.
we were not welcome then. We're definitely not going to be welcome there now, right? We speak English. We foreigners to them, you know. So this just we were, like I said, we were not to visit. Maybe, I mean, I know. I mean, I'm not going to go to visit Russia. I mean, I will be going to Kiev before. I will Ukraine before I would be ever go to Russia. There's so many other countries that I would rather visit than that. But yeah, why would I go somewhere that didn't want us? They basically threw us out. They told us we didn't belong there. That wasn't our country. I was born there, right? But they told me go to Israel, get out. Your name's calling and all of that. Yeah,
Absolutely.
full. It was full on racism.
Yeah. if they have nothing, had nothing good to offer you, I completely understand. I
Yeah.
wanted to know, just some people's closure is, moving on and shutting the chapter, or some, might want to go touch ground there. But
I mean, if it wasn't for the war, of course, my daughter wanted to see what I was grew up. She wanted to go see the history. I mean, it's history is there, But I mean,
mhm.
this
Yeah.
I don't know.
I completely understand. It's not
I
bad.
don't know.
They left a bad taste in your mouth.
They left it even at such a young age. But I mean, again, you're not welcome, right? Like as I felt not welcome here at 12 years
Mhm,
old by
mhm.
some people, as I felt not welcome in a country that I was born.
Right, right. Now, kind of a personal question.
Sure.
Being as though, and kind of your explaining of things, you said that you weren't really too much in touch with the actual religious part of who you are. Um, so now, or even when you initially, started to what you say, kind of give God the praise. What in what sense is that? Do you praise in the Jewish sense of the word, or have you, kind of based more Christianity based, or is it more, kind of universal, spiritual? I understand God is in me and in everything type of way. Like, what kind of, what have you taken on, being as though you really didn't have a connection with the Jewish side in the first place?
So I'm always Jewish first, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
my heritage, right? Ethnicity. But I have to take you to the first car accident. So I have a very special relationship with God. And my first car accident happened at 23 years old. I actually had an out of body experience, life after death. And I went through the tunnel, saw the light, and I got into the room, and there was a movie projector, and I saw myself miserable and then running through fields of flowers. And then Jesus came into my room, and he said, it's not time to go. It's time for you to go. It's not time for you to stay. You need to go back and raise your daughter. Nobody will understand her. She was 8 months. She was in the car accident. They cut me off jaws of life. And he said, you need to go and share this testimony that you just had this conversation with me, and you need to go and lead people to the higher power. You need to take them from the darkest moment to the brightest light. And so me, prior to the car accident, because religion had left such a terrible taste in my mouth, and actually when I went to Jewish school, it was opposite. Was told we were the chosen people, and then everybody else was whatever. So I heard, and I said to myself, this for me, there's no religion, there's God. It's one. We pray and we love each other. So it was, I was in a really weird space, and then Jesus shows up to this atheist Jewish woman, and I felt very honored, but I didn't know what to do with that experience. So I am Jewish. I'm spiritual and have very special bond with Jesus. I don't know if I answered your question, but I pray to my own God, whatever that means for me, and I haven't been sharing this story for a long time, just because when I share it with Christian, they're like, are you born again? Were you baptized? Are you this? And I'm like, well, no, I was reborn, but not in the way you see it. So I kind of stopped sharing it because and then when I shared with the Jewish people, it was like, well, Jesus was Jewish. And then I shared with somebody that was, Jewish for Jesus. And I got so overwhelmed. Like, I felt like my own special relationship was taken away from me. And everybody wanted me to be in their, I don't want to say well called, but it kind of felt like that. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to share that. And then when I prayed 5 years ago, I did pray to my own special Jesus that works with me, that protects me. He's been there always and forever, but it's not like yours or theirs or anybody else's. So I don't know if I answered your question or confused you more, but I
No.
just,
You
okay.
answered it. I mean, it's a little of everything. It's
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just what you feel and how you feel it. So it makes
Yeah.
complete
So I
sense.
just, I pray to God, and but every time I say that, I just feel that my own special present with Jesus. I don't know how else to explain.
No, because everyone has their different relationship,
That's
and
right.
and religion is hard to talk about. So a lot of us won't get into religion because you can agree to disagree, and some folks get offended. But
Yes.
we're not getting offended here.
Okay, good, because
We
I'm not
accept
trying
you for
to
who you are.
I'm not trying to offend anyone. That's why I kind of had to stop talking about. But then, when my second car accident happened, I felt like it was exactly 20 years apart, and I was hit exactly the same way. So there was no coincidence. I stopped sharing the story. I stopped sharing the wisdom that I got from the car accident. I stopped living in that purpose that he said you need to guide people. I stopped learning myself. Then I couldn't teach anybody else. So when I got into that car accident, 20 years apart, I was 23 and I was turning 43. I knew there was no coincidence. It was a reminder. Wake up, Irene. You've been procrastinating. You're just talking, but you're not doing. And you must talk and do and walk all at the same time. But you know what I mean, right? So it was very powerful for me. And I'm like, okay, I'm not playing games. I am no more. Like,
Hmm.
I am good. Let me go do what I need to do. And so here we are.
I love it. But I have a question. I heard you said that your 8-month-year-old daughter was in that car. Is that what you
Yes.
said?
Yes.
So, what was the impact of like that whole entire accident getting you out? Because I know it was a really bad accident.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember much. I only remember when I got to the emergency, in the hospital, right? I decided to divorce my husband. I saw the light. I felt free. I was divorcing my mother at the same time. I mean, there was a lot going on. Like when he said to me, "You need to go back," I'm like, "I'm in heaven. I don't want to go." And I knew the moment I land back here that I had to find my voice. I had to find the strength. I knew that I'm about to become a single mother. I'm about to hear that, why did you do that? We told you so. You should have never married this person, blah, 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 blah. So there was a lot of blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Had to go to therapy. I had to have, like break down in a sense, like cry, get angry, get pissed, and rebuild myself.
And I heard, and I'm sorry, I think I heard you say, in the midst of divorce with the husband, you said divorcing mother as well. And
Cutting that umbilical cord. It's not easy. A Russian
Mhm.
Jewish mother that is very strong in the will. She's a beautiful human. I love her to pieces. As I follow Tony Robbins, and one of the trainings that I took with him, he said, I didn't like my mother. I almost hated her. And I was like, that's how I feel too. Love hate relationship. And then he said, I am so blessed that she was my mother. What she took me through is now I'm here sharing. I got the wisdom, the strength, the struggle gave me the wisdom. I love her. I'm so grateful. I would never want another mother. But I struggled with that. But when I heard him, there's a purpose, right? Like, I know it's horrible to say that, but you know, in some parts, I believe that we choose the parents for, I don't know why. There's something we must learn from them, right? The experience of it, going through, unfortunately, some of us, it wasn't easy. It was tough. I mean, that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, and when he said it like that she's not a curse, she's actually a blessing to him, and I'm like, oh my God, my mom is a blessing. I mean, I understood, right? Like, I understood what he was saying. I'm not going to be that mother to my children. And I knew that I was, but again, right? She only could give me what her mom gave her, right?
Yeah. And I
She,
was going to ask, what kind of traumas did she take you through? Like
well, it's, trauma.
verbal abuse, or
No,
I mean,
it was,
anything that she.
I mean, you can say it was kind of sort of verbal abuse, but it's culturally, it's not verbal abuse. That's how people talk, but
No, it's not how people talk.
well, it's hard to explain. Yes, it's not. You're right. You're absolutely
Hmm.
not. But like I was kind of the black sheep of the family. I dated who I wanted to date. I'm a hairdresser. My sister was, married a nice Russian Jewish boy, attorney. She's an attorney, and I'm like, orange hair, shaved sides, married a homeless man. So like not a homeless man, but you know what I'm saying. Just different. It was just different.
You were too good for him. Is that what you're trying to say?
No,
You
no,
were
no.
too.
I mean, he was not put together. He was still finding
Uh-huh.
himself. I was more established than he was, right? He was still trying to find himself. And, the Russian Jewish community, it's so much better, but it's about not happiness. It's about labels, right?
Status.
It's
Mhm.
about status. And
Mhm.
I don't blame them per se, because, but the immigration that we came with $500. We've built businesses, bought homes, worked, very hard to establish ourselves, not take anything for granted, not take it from, welfare systems or whatever. That the mindset was, we come to America. America is giving us, that's at least what my father told us. We did not come to smooch from America. We came to give America. And he told us, brought you to a country where everything and anything's possible. It's up to you to go open those doors. They're not going to open easy. We don't speak the language. We're this, we're that, but go do it anyway. So, I understand a little bit of that. Is it right? No, but I never listened. I did what I needed to do. I'm so happy and free to be.
That's good though. You best to live without regrets, and
No
you've
regret.
been through enough. Of people kind of trying to actually just dictate, what's happening next for you. So, you kind of took control of that yourself, and that's what you're supposed to do. So, no issues with that. Now, kind of going into just where you are now. I know since I know Demetria likes to ask at this point in time, if there is any advice that you like to give to any of our viewers, just in regards to how you got through your healing, or continuing to get through your healing, how you were able to overcome certain things, your anxiety, your depression, outside of the products you were using. It always correlates with a mind frame, and a willingness that you're ready to take. So, what worked for you, and what would you suggest for anybody going through the same thing?
So, diet is very important. So, what you put into your body reflects your mental and physical and emotional state, right? So, healthy lifestyle, meditation, um, exercise, get quality of sleep, affirmations, reading books, I mean, therapy, all part of it. And, and being gentle with yourself. First time in my life, I gave up to such degrees that I didn't see myself out, right? Like I prayed to die. And I just want to let you know you're not alone, and it's okay to feel those feelings and reach out. And it's not a shame to say, I need help. So don't hesitate to ask for help. And another thing I want to say to you, it's okay to have a pity party. It's okay to have to be angry. It's okay. I never did it until I did it, to ask why me. We go through a lot of struggle, and sometimes it piles up and piles up, and it's okay. But what it's not okay is to sit in that, right? For to like acknowledge that you're sad, acknowledge that you're struggling, acknowledge that you in pain, honor it, release it, and move forward. Just don't sit in it. Take the time that you need to take. I used to be mind of a matter, but I realized that when I go into the core feeling and the pain and disappointment, if we just sugarcoat it. So we really have to lean into that pain and understand that it happened, but it happened not to us, but for us. Make sense? And forgiveness is really important. And I had to forgive myself for allowing certain situations to be in my orbit, right? Certain situations, it's beyond our means, and these horrible things happen to amazing people, and especially in a young age, it's out of our control. But I'm just talking like on a basic level. I have to kind of take some of the responsibility, and that what helped me move over. It wasn't somebody else's fault, but it also, I allowed some of the things, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so really quick, because we're almost at time.
Okay.
Can you tell us what your product is? Can you tell us the name of the socks and the patch?
Yeah, so it's all neurological. It's all neurological wearable technology. All of the products go under neurological wearable technology.
You said neurological where?
Neurological wearable technology.
Okay. Neurological wearable technology.
Yes.
Is that a website?
No, the website is godhealth.voxlive.com.
Okay. Okay. So we'll have Sid when she's going to do the shameless plugs and the information at the bottom. So
I
we'll
was gonna
let
say we can go through that now. So
okay.
Irene, as you see at the bottom, all of your nice information is scrolling. Let the people know, for one, where they can go to purchase the product. You can, if you want to throw out a price, a little preview or something, and let them know what you got going on. Whether you are writing a book or you have something for sale or you need advertisement, foot traffic, anywhere. This is where you sell yourself, and how you can tell our viewers how to reach out for whatever product or capacity they may need you in.
Thank you so much. I appreciate both of you for letting me share my story, my journey, my mission, my purpose, my passion. The best thing to do is do not go on the website and buy the product. Please don't do that, because you will be confused. There's a protocol how to use it. I will be your personal coach and take you through the process of it. So connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Easiest thing to do. I mean, I'm also on TikTok, Clapper, but the easiest way to do it is through Facebook. This way we can have a conversation. I can give you my phone number. We can do one-on-one, and I can help you live your life with more joy and less pain.
All right. Irene, thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
as you know, we're at time. I wish we could talk more, because it seems like it's a lot more we could talk about through this. Thank you for sharing your life experience, your testimony. We see all the joy in your face. It tells you everything about yourself. And that is a beautiful thing when you can see someone's love within inside themselves. And that is definitely you.
Thank
So
you.
we want to
Thank you
thank you.
both.
My pleasure. So thank you for tuning in to Unfiltered Unspoken. As you've seen today, we're sharing another beautiful life experience. Irene went through moving from the old Soviet Union to the U.S. and the bullying that she went through, the racism that she went through, not just in the U.S., but coming from the Soviet Union, them classifying her family as Jews, and then coming here and folks are like, you don't belong here. So we're sorry that she had to go through that. Racism is real, and racism is not just within one culture, it's within all cultures. So as we continue to bring awareness to bullying, and also Irene said a few key points, and that is one that touched importantly was forgiveness, and to forgive yourself. It's very important to forgive yourself, to be gentle with yourself. Don't be ashamed to say that you need help. And it's okay for you to have a pity party so that you can start the journey to it healing. Acknowledge you're sad, acknowledge you're struggling, acknowledge that you are in pain so that you can start the journey to healing. And again, we want to thank you for tuning into Unfiltered Unspoken, and we are going to continue to share life experiences. We're going to continue to give out the message, and let's give a big shout out to City Sid. She has been rocking. I love her dearly. So thank you for everything, Sid, and all your contribution with our platform, Unfiltered Unspoken. And we will see you soon.